Hello and welcome to Roleplaying Eldoria. Today's topics is goblins. I've started GMing in the Crownless Lands and started to think about exactly what are those goblins doing there. This is a place where they would live as they normally would. I wanted to know exactly what they were doing in those hives.
Because in Eldoria, in Crownless Lands that Angela's talking about, that's humans that live near goblins all the time. So they've come to know some of the goblins and there's a bit of trade and things like that. Where in most worlds and like in most of Eldoria, goblins in the past have just been races.
They're like senseless monsters.
Senseless monsters attacking them. And gradually, these humans and goblins in the Crownless Lands has come to respect each other to a degree. But there's still orcs and goblins elsewhere in the Crownless Lands, deep in them, who just want to kill people.
But there's all a reason for
Yeah.
it. Like amongst their own society, they have a society that we've developed, and they have wants and needs.
Mm-hmm.
Goblins are wily, not wise. Deceit and misdirection are merely not survival strategies, but marks of status. Their hives vary greatly, from the anxious Snivlans, my personal favourite, to the shrewd merchants of the Sankarash and the brutal warriors of the Gutmore hive. Among goblins, skulls and brains hold sacred significance. They're not just trophies. A skull is more than bone. It's a proof of power, a symbol of a life worth remembering, and just as importantly, it means the deed is done. Goblin warbands use severed heads impaled on stakes to honour their gods, as well as frighten their foes. The most revered skulls, those of mighty foes and seers and legendary leaders, undergo ritual consecration, such as the legendary skull of the prophet Dakash. To a goblin, a skull is never just a trophy. And one of the most enduring goblin proverbs, apart from "where's the gravy," is never leave a head behind. Skulls of the dead. Goblins will risk much to retrieve the skulls of their fallen comrades and even enemies in the heat of battle. Great goblin warriors mark their hive entrances with huge piles of skulls. Other people store them in personal chests, and some mount them on walls as keepsakes. On a warrior's death, it's tradition to burn the skulls of their kills with their headless body. Now, the practice of creating shrunken skulls occurs in every goblin hive, but it's a specialised and lengthy process. Goblins pass down their history through oral tradition. Songs, lies, and exaggerated tales. Most hives are just ruled by a boss goblin or a chieftain. Sometimes larger or more unified groups may have a goblin king. Goblin women have multiple births. Twins are extremely common, and the goblins are pregnant for about 3 months. If a goblin woman has more than twins, triplets, and so on, they are more revered in the hive. Women get to control over who they breed with, and the older woman goblins look after the nursery. While it is uncommon for a woman to become a chief goblin or a queen, it is not unheard of. Thanks for listening and exploring a little bit of goblin kind. If you've got some interesting goblins and what you do in your game, we'd love to hear about it. Feel free to steal or adjust or change some of our ideas. I'd love to see gravy-eating goblins all over the world. Like if you can, comment. We love to hear your comments. It's really interesting reading how different people play games. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye.